You outthink the hustlers, you outmove the goons, you outgrow the block, and nobody tells you how lonely that actually feels. Nobody warns you that growth doesn't arrive loud, it arrives quiet. One day you wake up and the noise that shaped you no longer controls you. The chaos that trained your instincts no longer excites you. The shortcuts that once looked smart now look small. You start seeing 10 steps ahead while everyone around you is fighting for the next 5 minutes. That moment right there is where your real journey starts. Not when you had nothing, not when you struggled, but when you realized you don't want to live like that anymore. This is not about flexing success. This is about outgrowing survival mode. This is about the shift from reacting to choosing, from proving to building, from noise to direction. You didn't get lucky. You got aware. And awareness changes everything. Before you go deeper into this message, listen closely. If this feels like it's talking directly to you, then pause for a second and show support. Like this video so it reaches someone who needs it. Subscribe if you're serious about growth, not hype. And comment where you're listening from, because you're not alone in this transition, even when it feels that way. Now breathe and keep listening, because this part matters. Growing up around pressure sharpens you fast. You learn how to read people before they speak. You learn when to stay quiet and when to move. You learn patterns before others notice them. But here's the truth, nobody admits. Survival intelligence is powerful, but it becomes dangerous if you never evolve it. If all you ever do is survive, you end up trapped in cycles that look strong, but lead nowhere. The smartest people in the room are not always the loudest. They are the ones who can delay emotion. They can sit with discomfort. They can let others rush while they wait. That patience is not weakness. That patience is control. Outthinking hustlers doesn't mean you think you're better. It means you stopped romanticizing struggle. You stopped confusing motion with progress. You stopped believing every loud promise and fast win. You realized that real power moves quietly. It stacks over time. It compounds when nobody's watching. Hustle culture teaches exhaustion. Wisdom teaches alignment. One burns you out, the other builds you up. When you choose strategy over chaos, people around you may say you changed. They're right. You did. You grew. Outmoving goons doesn't mean physical speed. It means mental distance. It means you don't react to every challenge. You don't answer every call. You don't step into every conflict. You realize that winning every argument still leaves you stuck in the same place. So you started choosing peace over proving, direction over dominance, calm over chaos. That decision alone already puts you ahead of most people, because emotional discipline is rare, and rare things create rare outcomes. Outgrowing the block is the hardest part, not because the block is bad, but because it's familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar potential. Leaving behind old patterns feels like betrayal, even when those patterns were holding you back. You start seeing the same conversations repeat, the same complaints, the same excuses dressed up as loyalty, and you feel it in your chest. You know if you stay, you shrink. If you leave, you grow. And growth always costs something. Sometimes it costs people. Sometimes it costs comfort. Sometimes it costs the version of you that knew how to fit in. When you grow, your vision expands faster than your environment. That gap hurts. You feel misunderstood. You feel ahead, but also alone. You start questioning if you're doing too much or thinking too far. Let me be clear. You're not. You're just early. And being early always feels like being wrong until results catch up. The strongest people are not those who never doubt. They are the ones who move anyway. There is a moment where you realize you don't need to announce your growth. You don't need approval. You don't need validation from people who never had to carry your mindset. Silence becomes your strategy. Focus becomes your language. Discipline becomes your identity. You stop explaining. You start executing. And that's when life starts responding differently. You grew up fast because you had to, but now you're choosing to grow smart because you want to. That's the difference. You are no longer reacting to pressure. You are designing your future. You don't chase quick wins. You build systems. You don't burn bridges. You outgrow the need to stand on them. You don't need to be seen. You need to be consistent. At some point, you realize that being mature isn't about being cold. It's about being selective. Selective with your time. Selective with your energy. Selective with your circle. You stop giving unlimited access to people who drain you. You stop sharing dreams with people who only understand limitations. That's not ego. That's self-respect. This path isn't glamorous. There are nights where discipline feels heavy. There are mornings where motivation is gone. But you move anyway, because you've seen where the other road leads. You've watched potential decay in real time. You've seen talent waste itself on distractions, and you promised yourself you wouldn't be another story that almost made it. You don't need to dominate anyone. You just need to dominate your habits. You don't need to escape your past. You need to outgrow it, and you already are. Every quiet decision, every disciplined morning, every moment you choose long-term over short-term, that's growth. That's power. You outthink the hustlers because you understand leverage. You outmove the goons because you understand restraint. You outgrow the block because you understand vision. And vision is something no one can take from you once it's clear. The world doesn't reward the loudest. It rewards the most consistent, the most patient, the most focused. And that's who you're becoming. Not overnight, but deliberately. So when they ask why you don't move the same anymore, why you don't talk the same anymore, why you don't react the same anymore, let them wonder. You don't owe explanations to chapters you've already finished. You didn't lose your edge. You sharpened it. You didn't switch up. You leveled up. And deep down, you know it. You really did grow up. And here's the part nobody prepares you for. When you outgrow your old environment, the world doesn't suddenly applaud you. There is no announcement, no celebration. Most of the time there is silence, and that silence can feel heavy if you're not ready for it. You used to be surrounded by noise, opinions, reactions, drama, movement. Now it's just you and your thoughts. And that's where many people turn back. Not because they can't succeed, but because they can't sit alone with their own potential. Growth requires isolation before it creates elevation. You begin to notice how much of your past effort was spent proving yourself to people who were never going anywhere. You remember how many nights you wasted explaining your vision to minds that were committed to staying small. And instead of anger, you feel clarity. Because now you understand something important. Not everyone is meant to come with you. Some people are lessons, not partners. Some places are training grounds, not destinations. When your mindset shifts, your tolerance drops. You stop entertaining conversations that lead nowhere. You stop feeding energy into cycles that don't pay you back. You don't argue as much because you no longer need to be right. You need to be effective. That's a quiet upgrade. Most people will never notice, but it changes everything. There's a moment when you realize discipline is not punishment. It's protection. It protects your future from your impulses. It protects your goals from distractions. It protects your peace from chaos, disguised as excitement. And once you see discipline that way, you stop resisting it. You start respecting it. You understand that freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is having control over yourself. Outgrowing the block doesn't mean forgetting where you came from. It means refusing to let it limit where you're going. You still carry the lessons. You still respect the struggle, but you don't let nostalgia trap you. You don't confuse loyalty with stagnation. You don't stay small just to stay familiar. You start thinking in years instead of weekends, in outcomes instead of appearances, in systems instead of shortcuts. And that shift is uncomfortable because it separates you from the crowd. But separation is the price of direction. You can't move forward while constantly looking sideways for approval. There will be days when the old life calls you back, the comfort, the ease, the lack of responsibility, and you'll feel the pull. That's normal. Growth doesn't erase temptation. It teaches you how to pause before responding to it. And every time you pause instead of reacting, you strengthen something inside you that can't be taught: self-command. You realize that most people aren't lazy, they're just undisciplined. They're busy, but not intentional. Active, but not progressing. Loud, but not improving. And you choose not to become that. You choose to slow down so you can aim better. You choose to build quietly so you can last longer. The strongest move you ever made was deciding to think for yourself, to question patterns, to study outcomes, to learn from mistakes without repeating them. That alone puts you ahead of generations who lived and died inside the same cycle. You broke the rhythm. You disrupted the pattern. And even if nobody claps for that right now, it matters more than you know. There's a weight that comes with maturity. You feel responsible not just for yourself, but for the future version of you, the one who will live with the consequences of today's choices. And when you understand that you stop gambling with your time, you stop selling your focus, you stop treating your potential casually, you don't rush success anymore. You respect timing. You understand that real results require boring consistency, repetition, refinement, showing up even when nobody's watching, especially when nobody's watching. Because character is built in private, long before it's recognized in public. At some point you stop chasing motivation. You build routines. You build structure. You build standards. And standards change behavior automatically. You don't rely on how you feel. You rely on who you've decided to become. That identity carries you through days motivation never will. You outthink the hustlers because you see the cost behind the shine. You outmove the goons because you understand that real strength doesn't need constant conflict. You outgrow the block because you understand that your future deserves more than your past could offer. This journey doesn't make you perfect. It makes you intentional. You still make mistakes. You still feel doubt. But you don't let those moments define you. You use them as data, as feedback, as fuel. You learn, you adjust, you continue. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll look back and notice the distance. Not just physical distance, but mental distance, emotional distance. The problems that once felt massive now feel manageable. The temptations that once controlled you now barely get your attention. The opinions that once shook you now pass right through. That's growth. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. And when people say you changed, you won't feel the need to defend yourself, because deep down, you'll know the truth. You didn't change for attention. You changed for survival. Then, you changed for progress. Then, you changed for purpose. You didn't grow cold. You grew focused. You didn't lose people. You outgrew patterns. You didn't slow down. You aimed higher. And the path ahead won't be easy, but it will be yours. Built by your decisions, protected by your discipline, guided by your vision. So keep moving, quietly, intentionally, relentlessly. Because you didn't come this far just to stay the same. You really did grow up. And as you keep moving forward, you begin to understand something most people never slow down enough to realize. Growth is not just about adding new habits. It's about shedding old reactions, old reflexes, old emotional patterns that once protected you but now hold you back. You don't need to be on guard all the time anymore. You don't need to prove toughness. You don't need to respond to every challenge. You've learned that real confidence doesn't announce itself. It shows up calm, prepared, unshaken. You start to see how many people are controlled by their environment without even knowing it. Their mood changes with the room. Their direction changes with opinions. Their effort changes with comfort. And you quietly decide that won't be you. You choose internal standards over external pressure. You build rules for yourself, and you follow them even when nobody's watching, especially when nobody is watching. There's a strange moment where you realize you are no longer impressed by chaos. What once felt exciting now feels draining. What once felt alive now feels repetitive. And that's when you know your nervous system has matured. You no longer need constant stimulation to feel something. You're building something real, and real things take time. You also realize that discipline creates space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to plan. When your life is organized, your mind becomes sharper. When your habits are aligned, your confidence grows quietly. You stop doubting yourself as much because your actions are backing you up. Trust in yourself isn't built through words. It's built through consistency. There will be moments where you feel misunderstood by the people closest to you. They remember the old version of you, the reactive one, the always available one, the one who moved without direction. And when you don't play that role anymore, it confuses them. But growth always disrupts expectations. And that's not your burden to carry. You learn to let people have their opinions without letting those opinions shape your behavior. You stop correcting misunderstandings. You stop defending silence. You understand that clarity will come later through results, not explanations. And results speak in a language nobody can argue with. At some point, you realize that being alone is not the same as being lonely. Solitude becomes a tool. It gives you space to hear your own thoughts without interference. It allows ideas to develop fully. It sharpens your instincts. The strongest minds in history were built in moments of quiet, not noise. You begin to treat your energy like a resource. You don't waste it on gossip. You don't donate it to negativity. You don't lend it to people who never return it. That doesn't make you heartless. It makes you responsible. You can't build a future while constantly leaking energy into the past. And slowly, something powerful happens. Your confidence becomes rooted, not in approval, not in appearance, but in competence. You know what you're capable of because you've put in the work. You know how you respond under pressure because you've trained yourself. That kind of confidence doesn't need validation. It stands on its own. You stop asking for permission to grow. You stop waiting for the right moment. You realize that the perfect time never comes. Only prepared people do. So you prepare, daily, quietly, relentlessly. You also understand that setbacks are not signs to quit. They are signals to adjust. You don't collapse when things go wrong. You analyze, you learn, you recalibrate. That emotional control separates leaders from followers long before success shows up. Outgrowing the block also means outgrowing old definitions of success. It's no longer about looking busy, it's about being effective. It's no longer about appearing strong, it's about being stable. You value peace, you value clarity, you value progress that lasts. You start respecting sleep, respecting focus, respecting tone. You no longer brag about exhaustion. You protect your mental space because you understand that sharp thinking is your advantage. A calm mind sees openings, a chaotic mind misses. And here's the quiet truth. The higher you aim, the fewer people will understand your choices. But understanding is not required for progress. Commitment is, and you've made yours. You're not chasing anyone. You're not racing anyone. You're building at your own pace with your own standards. That alone puts you ahead of people who are constantly comparing themselves to others. One day people will say you came out of nowhere, but you'll know better. You'll remember the nights of discipline, the mornings of focus, the moments you chose growth over comfort. You didn't appear overnight. You were built slowly. And when success finally shows up, it won't change you because you already changed on the way there. You won't need to announce it. You won't need to prove it. Your presence will speak before your words ever do. You outthought what trapped others. You outmoved what distracted them. You outgrew what defined them. And the most powerful part is this: you did it quietly. Keep going. As time goes on, you begin to notice something subtle but important. Your reactions slow down, not because you care less, but because you understand more. You no longer jump at every opportunity or threat. You pause. You observe. You measure consequences before you move. That pause is not hesitation. It's maturity. It's the space between impulse and intention. And in that space, you make better decisions than most people ever will. You start to understand that real growth often feels boring. There are no dramatic moments, no constant excitement, just repetition, structure, doing the same right things over and over until they compound. Most people quit in this phase because it doesn't look impressive, but you stay because you're not chasing attention, you're chasing results. You also start to feel the weight of responsibility. Not the loud kind, but the quiet one. The responsibility to not waste your potential. The responsibility to break cycles instead of repeating them. The responsibility to become someone younger you would respect. That pressure doesn't crush you. It sharpens you. You realize that discipline is actually an act of self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust within. Every time you follow through, when it's inconvenient, you reinforce your identity. You're no longer trying to become disciplined. You are disciplined. And that identity guides your actions automatically. There will be moments when progress feels invisible, when effort doesn't seem to pay off, when it feels like you're standing still while others appear to move faster. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They rush, they cut corners, they abandon what works for what feels fast. You don't. You understand that roots grow in darkness before anything rises into the light. You begin to understand people better too. You stop taking things personally. You see fear behind aggression, insecurity behind arrogance, confusion behind criticism. That understanding doesn't make you weak. It makes you calm. And calm people are hard to control. You stop needing to win conversations. You let people be wrong about you. You let them underestimate you. Because you know something they don't. You know how much work you've put in when nobody was watching. You know how solid your foundation is. And that knowledge keeps you steady. At this stage, your standards rise naturally, not just for others, but for yourself. You expect more from your time, more from your focus, more from your effort. You don't settle for half commitment anymore. You don't excuse inconsistency. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a deep pain that comes with giving your heart to someone who doesn't appreciate it. You invest your time, your energy, and your love into a person who takes it all for granted, never truly understanding the depth of what you're offering. But there's a truth, a harsh reality that awaits all those who fail to recognize the value of what's in front of them. And that truth is this: very soon, they will experience the pain of losing you. You see, people often don't realize what they have until it's gone. They take you for granted, using your kindness, your loyalty, and your unwavering commitment as if it was something that would always be there, something that will never fade, something that will always remain constant. But what they fail to grasp is that everything has a limit. There's only so much a person can give before they break. There's only so much time someone can spend being overlooked, undervalued, and ignored before they walk away. And when that day comes, when you finally decide to pull away, to leave them to their own devices, that's when they'll feel it. They will feel the sting of regret, the coldness of absence, and the unbearable weight of loss. Because, ladies and gentlemen, they will never find someone like you again. You've given your all, but now it's time for you to reclaim what was always yours. You've allowed them to take your heart, to trample over your emotions, to manipulate your feelings, and twist your love into something they could consume at their leisure. But when you walk away, when you finally recognize your worth and stop pouring your soul into a bottomless pit, they'll be left with nothing but the echoes of what they had. And those echoes will haunt them. They will be a constant reminder of the person they could have had, but didn't appreciate. And no matter how much time passes, no matter how many people they try to replace you with, they will always come up short. The pain of losing you will be a shadow that follows them wherever they go. What they don't know, what they will never understand, is that the pain they'll experience will be far worse than anything they could have imagined. It won't just be the absence of your presence, but the absence of your love, your dedication, your support. It won't be the simple act of losing someone. It will be the realization that they lost the best thing they ever had. And that realization will sink into their bones, eating away at their insides, gnawing at them in a way they cannot escape. It will consume them because deep down, they will know that they were the ones who destroyed it. They will know they are responsible for their own pain. The hardest part for them will be coming to terms with the fact that they'll never get you back. People often believe that they can always get someone back, that with time, effort, or words, they can fix what was broken. But with you, it will be different. You will not be someone they can call when they need comfort, someone they can manipulate back into their lives when things get hard. Once you walk away, there will be no going back. The door will be closed and the key will be in your pocket, never to be given back. They will try to move on, to forget about you, but deep down, they will know that no one will ever compare to what they had with you. They will try to find someone else to fill the void, but that will only leave them feeling emptier. The love they lost will be a gaping hole in their heart, a scar that will never fully heal. And with each passing day, that scar will fester, growing more painful, more unbearable. They will look back on their mistakes and wonder what went wrong, but by then, it will be too late. And don't let them fool you. Don't let them tell you that they'll move on easily, that they'll forget about you without a second thought. Because the truth is, they won't. They will think about you every single day. They will remember your laugh, the way you made them feel safe, the way you loved them in a way no one else ever could. And every memory will come crashing down on them like a tidal wave, drowning them in regret. They will wish they could go back in time and make different choices, but they won't be able to. Because time, once lost, can never be regained. You will be gone, and all they will have left is the pain of knowing that they let you slip through their fingers. The people who took you for granted, who used you without a second thought, who never once appreciated what you brought into their lives, will soon come to the harsh realization that they've made a grave mistake. They will never find someone like you again, no matter how hard they try. You will be the one that got away, the one that slipped through the cracks, and no matter how many new faces they try to surround themselves with, they will always be reminded of what they lost, and that reminder will be their punishment. Very soon, they'll experience the pain of losing you. For now, they don't understand, but soon they will feel the weight of their ignorance and their arrogance. They think they can take you for granted. They think that you'll always be there for them, like some constant shadow, something they can push aside and forget about when it's convenient. But you're not a shadow. You're not something to be used, discarded, and then expected to return whenever they feel like it. The time is coming when the tables will turn, and they will realize that the one thing they never expected to happen is going to happen, and that is the pain of losing you. For all the moments they ignored you, for all the times they mistreated you, for every time they thought you'd always be around, you're about to show them the price of their complacency. And trust me, they won't be able to handle it. The silence you leave will be deafening. The absence you create will haunt them, and they won't be able to escape the bitter truth they will soon be forced to confront. That truth is simple, undeniable, and raw. They took you for granted. They believed they could keep you at arm's length, using you as a backup when things went wrong. But they never saw the storm coming. You've been patient. You've been kind. You've been the one to pick up the pieces every time they shattered. You've been the one to offer a hand when no one else did. The one who stuck around long after the others turned their backs. But that kindness has limits. That patience has an expiration date. And when that day comes, when you finally break free, when you finally let go, when you walk away and close the door behind you, they will be left in their own chaos. They will be left to suffer in the silence they created. You see, they believed you'd always be there because they never had to work for your presence. They thought they could rely on you without ever appreciating the weight of your loyalty. But now the tides are turning. The reality they thought they could ignore is coming for them, and they'll be left scrambling in the wake of their own negligence. They'll wonder where you went. They'll wonder how they could have been so blind. And in that moment, when the emptiness of your absence hits them like a wrecking ball, they'll understand exactly what they lost. But by then, it will be too late. You're not going to run back to them. You're not going to make excuses for their behavior. You've already paid the price for their lack of respect. You've already invested too much time, too much energy, too much of yourself in a place that didn't value you. Now, you'll make them feel the same emptiness they so carelessly left inside of you. And it will hurt them far more than it ever hurt you. When you walk away, they'll feel it. It will start as a small pang, a subtle realization that something is missing. But as the days go by, that realization will grow into something more visceral. They'll begin to see the impact of your absence in everything they do. The calls they used to receive will go unanswered. The text messages they sent will remain unread. The warmth they once took for granted will be gone, and it will burn. It will burn like fire, like ice, like a slow, agonizing death they never saw coming. They'll try to fill the void. They'll try to find someone else to replace you, someone else to fill the role you once played. But it won't be the same. No one will ever be able to replicate what you brought to the table. No one will ever understand them the way you did. They'll try to move on, to find distractions, to find something, anything to dull the pain. But nothing will work. Nothing will make them feel the way you made them feel. And they'll hate themselves for it. They'll hate themselves for taking you for granted, for never fully appreciating what they had until it was gone. They'll try to call you. They'll try to reach out, to apologize, to beg for forgiveness. But by then, it will be too late. The person they once knew will be gone. The version of you that they thought they could walk all over, the one that would always be there to clean up their mess, will be gone. And they won't know how to handle it. They won't know what to do with themselves when they realize that they've lost someone who was irreplaceable, someone who gave more than they could ever deserve. They won't be able to look back and say they did enough. They won't be able to look back and say they gave you the respect you deserved. They'll never have the chance to make things right. When you leave, it will be like a mirror shattering in front of their eyes. It will force them to see who they really are and who they've been to you. It will show them the ugly truth they were too afraid to confront, and it will break them. It will break them in a way they never thought possible. And in that moment, they'll wish they could take it all back. They'll wish they could turn back time and make different choices, but they can't, and they'll know they can't. They'll know that the damage is done, and it's irreversible. And in that moment, when they're sitting in the wreckage of their own mistakes, they'll finally understand. They'll finally understand the true value of what they had and how foolish they were to let it slip through their fingers. But it will be too late. There will be no second chance, no coming back from this. They will have learned their lesson the hard way, and they'll be left with nothing but the memory of what they lost. You see, this isn't about revenge. This isn't about getting even. This is about justice. This is about making them feel the weight of their actions. This is about showing them that you're not a person to be trifled with. You're not someone who will sit in the background and accept disrespect. You're not someone who will let them walk all over you and expect you to stay loyal when they don't even care to show up for you. They will experience the pain of losing you because they need to. They need to feel that pain so they can understand the value of what they had. They need to understand the cost of their indifference. They need to understand that loyalty isn't something to be taken for granted. It's something that must be earned and respected. And when you walk away, when you finally cut them off, they'll understand that in the most excruciating way possible. But here's the thing. They'll never truly be able to apologize for what they've done. They'll never truly be able to make it right because some things can't be undone. They can't change the fact that they treated you like an option. They can't change the fact that they took advantage of your love, your loyalty, your time. They can't change the fact that they let you go without ever realizing what they had. All they can do is sit in their regret, and that will be their punishment. And you'll move on. You'll be stronger. You'll be wiser. You'll be more selective about who you let into your life. You won't make the same mistake twice. You'll no longer tolerate being treated like you're disposable. You'll find your peace, your strength, and your purpose, and you'll do it without them. You'll realize that losing them wasn't a loss at all. It was a blessing. It was the moment you stopped settling for less than you deserved. In the end, they will experience the pain of losing you, but you will experience the liberation of knowing that you are worth more than they ever understood. And that's something they'll never be able to take from you. You know, the greatest mistake they ever made was assuming you were too weak to walk away. They underestimated your strength, your resolve, your willingness to fight for your own peace. They thought that because you gave them so much of your time, so much of your heart, that you would be there forever, like some constant, unmovable fixture in their life. But they were wrong. They didn't realize the quiet power that comes from knowing your worth and having the courage to walk away when you're no longer being valued. They didn't see the storm inside you, the one that has been brewing for so long. They didn't see the cracks in the foundation, the cracks you tried to ignore, tried to mend, tried to convince yourself weren't there. But deep down, you always knew. You knew that there would come a point where you'd have to choose yourself over them. You knew that their negligence would eventually reach a tipping point. And when that moment came, when you finally recognized that they'd pushed you too far, you made the hardest decision of your life. You chose to walk away. And now, as you look at them, still blissfully unaware of what they're about to lose, you know that everything is about to change. The illusion of security they've had with you by their side is about to shatter. They will feel the weight of their actions. They will feel the sting of their neglect. They will feel that hole in their chest where your presence used to be, and they won't know how to fill it. They'll try to move on, of course. They'll try to convince themselves that it doesn't matter. They'll tell themselves that they're better off without you, that they can replace you, that life will go on. But deep down, they'll know they're lying to themselves. They'll know they can never replace you. They'll never find someone who understands them like you did, someone who cared for them with the depth and devotion you offered. They'll search for distractions, for other people, for temporary fixes, but the pain will always be there, gnawing at them, reminding them of what they lost. You see, people don't truly appreciate what they have until it's gone. They don't realize the value of a person until that person walks away. And that's when the regret hits. That's when the anger sets in. Not at you, but at themselves. They'll question everything they did wrong. They'll wonder where they went wrong, where they could have done better. But they'll never be able to figure it out. Because the problem wasn't you. The problem was them. They took you for granted, and they didn't see it until it was too late. They didn't see how much you sacrificed, how much you gave up for them, how much you put aside just to make them happy, just to make their life easier. They didn't see the late nights you stayed awake, the moments you put your own dreams on hold, the times you put their needs before your own. They didn't see the small things, the quiet gestures of love and care, the things that made your bond special. And now they're going to see it all, but it will be too late. When you leave, you're not just walking away from them, you're walking away from all the lies they told you, from all the promises they never kept, from all the empty words that meant nothing in the end. You're walking away from the broken promises and the half-hearted efforts. You're walking away from a life that was never truly yours, but one they tried to convince you could be. And as you step out of their world, as you shut the door behind you, they will feel the weight of that loss. They will feel the finality of it. And no amount of apologies, no amount of pleading will bring you back. At first, it'll be subtle. They won't notice it right away. They'll go on with their lives, pretending like everything's fine. But then, little by little, they'll start to feel the difference. The texts won't be answered. The calls will go straight to voicemail. The messages they sent will be left on read. And each unanswered attempt will feel like a slap in the face. It'll be a reminder of how they took you for granted, how they never gave you the time, the respect, the attention you deserved. But here's the thing, you're not doing this to hurt them. You're not leaving out of spite. You're leaving because you know that you deserve better. You deserve more than what they were offering you. You deserve respect, love, and loyalty. You deserve to be seen for the person you are, not just for the things you do for others. And if they couldn't see that, if they couldn't recognize your worth, then they have to face the consequences of their actions. They have to face the reality that they let something priceless slip through their fingers. They'll try to tell themselves it's not their fault. They'll tell themselves that you overreacted, that you made a big deal out of nothing, that you were too sensitive. But deep down, they'll know the truth. They'll know they failed you. They'll know they could have treated you better, could have shown you the love you deserved, but they chose not to. And that's the hardest pill for them to swallow. As time passes, they'll try to replace you. They'll try to fill the void with someone else. but no one will ever compare to you. No one will ever make them feel the way you did. They'll try, but it won't work. And each time they come across someone who doesn't measure up, they'll feel it. They'll feel the emptiness, the hollowness, the loss of what could have been. And with every failed attempt, the pain will grow. They'll realize that they'll never find someone like you again. And that realization will eat away at them, gnawing at their insides until they can't ignore it anymore. They'll think about all the things they took for granted, the way you listened when no one else did, the way you made them feel safe, the way you showed up day after day, even when they didn't deserve it. They'll think about the moments they spent with you, the laughter, the quiet moments, the shared experiences, and they'll wish they could go back, but they can't. And that's the hardest part for them, the fact that it's too late, the fact that they can never go back to the way things were. And that's when the regret will settle in. They'll wonder if you ever really cared for them, if you ever really loved them. They'll wonder what went wrong, why you gave up on them. But the truth is, they don't need to wonder. The answer is simple. They never gave you a reason to stay. They never gave you the love, the respect, the attention that you needed. They never put in the effort. And when someone stops putting in the effort, when they stop showing you that you matter, it's only a matter of time before you realize it's not worth it anymore. They'll try to distract themselves. They'll try to numb the pain with other people, with other things. But it won't work. The pain of losing you will follow them wherever they go. It will be a constant reminder of their mistakes. And as the days turn into weeks, and the weeks turn into months, the pain will only grow stronger. You'll be long gone by then, living your life without them. And while they wallow in their regret, you'll be free. Free from the weight of their indifference, free from the constant disappointment, free from the pain of being taken for granted. And as you walk into a future that's brighter than anything they could have ever given you, they'll be left to pick up the pieces of their own broken heart. And that's the reality they'll have to face. They'll have to live with the knowledge that they had something amazing, something irreplaceable, and they let it slip away. They'll have to live with the knowledge that they pushed you away, that they didn't appreciate what they had until it was too late. And that will be their punishment. The pain of losing you will haunt them for the rest of their days. And you'll move forward. You'll heal. You'll find your peace. You'll find someone who sees you for who you truly are. Someone who values you. Someone who treats you with the respect you deserve. And when that day comes, when you finally find your happiness, you'll realize that the pain of losing them was never a loss at all. It was the greatest gift you could ever give yourself. The gift of freedom. The gift of self-worth. The gift of knowing that you are enough. And once you embrace that, once you realize that you deserve the best, you'll never go back. Because the best thing you could ever do is walk away from someone who couldn't see your value. And in that, you'll find a strength you never knew you had. When you leave, you will not just be leaving them behind physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You will leave a void that they will try to fill, but they won't be able to. You are not replaceable, no matter how hard they try. They can chase after every other person who may come along, but they'll always be confronted by the ghost of what you were, by the essence of everything you gave them and everything they squandered. This isn't just about one person's loss. It's about their realization that they lost someone who was genuine. They lost someone who could have been their greatest ally, their greatest support. They lost the person who truly cared for them, who accepted them for who they were, flaws and all. But more than that, they lost someone who didn't demand perfection. You were not someone who expected the world. You just wanted to be seen, to be valued. And they couldn't give that to you. They thought you would always be there, thought you'd always accept the scraps they threw your way. They thought they could walk all over you because you were too kind, too patient, or too understanding. But now, when the silence of your absence echoes through the empty spaces they once filled with their disregard, they will understand the truth. You weren't weak, you were strong enough to walk away. And the strength it takes to leave is far more than what they ever realized. At some point, they'll find themselves standing at a crossroads. It will hit them like a freight train. This realization that the one person who truly understood them, truly cared for them, and gave everything they could is left. They won't know what to do with themselves. They won't know how to fix it. And for the first time, they will realize that they don't have the control they thought they did over you, over your presence in their life. They won't have the privilege of taking you for granted any longer. They'll try to fill the gap you left behind. Maybe they'll seek comfort in the company of others. Maybe they'll try to distract themselves with work, hobbies, or substances. But nothing will make them feel whole again. Because no matter how hard they try to convince themselves that they're better off without you, the truth will settle in. The truth that they can't find someone like you. They'll spend countless nights staring into the void, wondering how they let you slip through their fingers. And the regret will gnaw at them like a slow burning fire they can't extinguish. One they won't be able to put out no matter how much time passes. They'll begin to look at everything differently. They'll start to examine the moments they took for granted, the days you spent together, the small gestures you made, the way you showed up for them without question, the way you put their needs above your own. They'll start to see all the things they should have done, the words they should have spoken, the love they should have shown, and it will eat away at them. They'll realize that they didn't even know what they had until it was gone. And then they'll come to the painful truth. There's nothing they can do. There's no turning back. There's no way to undo the damage they caused. They'll try to apologize, maybe even beg for a second chance. But by then, you will have already moved on. You will have already found your strength. You will have already learned that no matter how much they beg, no matter how much they say they've changed, the truth is that they never truly valued you when they had you. They never took the time to appreciate you, to recognize you for the incredible person you are. And that's the most painful part for them. The realization that the chance they had to make it right is gone. There's nothing left to fix. There's no room for apologies because you've already closed that chapter in your life. You've walked away and you've learned how to stand on your own. You've realized that the pain they caused you was not something to be ignored or swept under the rug. You faced it, learned from it, and now you're stronger for it. They, on the other hand, will be stuck in the web of their own mistakes, desperately searching for a way to undo what they've done, but knowing, deep down, that it's too late. But don't feel sorry for them. Don't feel guilty for your decision. You are doing what you need to do to protect your peace. You are doing what you need to do to move forward. The world doesn't owe you anything, and it certainly doesn't owe them anything. They will learn the hard way, just as you did. They will learn that the value of a person is not something to be taken lightly. They will learn that loyalty is not a guarantee, that respect is earned, and that the love you gave them wasn't something to be squandered. As the days go on, they will watch you from a distance. They will see you living your life, flourishing, becoming the person you always deserved to be. And they will realize that the person they knew was not the same person they lost. No, that person will be better, stronger, wiser, and more focused than ever before. That person will have learned the painful lesson of knowing their worth and knowing that they deserve so much more than what they were given. They will see you rise, and in that, they will realize the true cost of their neglect. When they finally come to this realization, it will hit them hard. The regret will wash over them like a tidal wave. They will see their mistakes, their shortcomings, and all the things they should have done. And they will wish, more than anything, that they could turn back time. But they can't. Time has passed, and you have moved on. And now, they are left to carry the weight of their own actions. They will try to move on. They will try to find someone else, but it won't be the same. No one else will understand them the way you did. No one else will give them the same care and devotion. And deep down, they will know that. They will know that they could have had everything with you, but they were too blind, too selfish, too wrapped up in their own world to see it. And as they sit with the pain of losing you, they will realize that this is the true consequence of their actions. They will never be able to fix it. They will never be able to get you back. They will have to live with that regret for the rest of their lives. But you, on the other hand, will be free. Free to live your life without the weight of their mistakes hanging over your head. Free to create new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that are deserving of your love and time. You will be free to embrace the person you have become, stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. You will be free to create your own happiness without anyone holding you back. And that is what they will never understand. They will never understand how it feels to be free, to be liberated from the chains of their neglect. They will never know the peace that comes with walking away from a situation that no longer serves you. They will never know what it feels like to choose yourself first, to recognize your worth, and to make a decision that is in your best interest. But that's not your problem. They will have to learn that lesson on their own, just as you did. And the hardest part for them will be knowing that they'll never be able to go back, never be able to fix what they broke. And in the end, that is what will hurt them the most. In the end, they will experience the pain of losing you because they never truly understood your value until it was too late. And as they suffer from their mistakes, you will rise above, stronger and more determined than ever. You will not look back with regret, but with the knowledge that you made the right choice. You walked away, not because you wanted to hurt them, but because you recognized that you deserve so much more. And that's the ultimate truth. In walking away, you've reclaimed your power. They never saw it coming, not because you allowed, not because you announced anything, but because you learned how to stay quiet while growing stronger every single day. You stood in the same room, wore the same face, spoke the same simple words, yet inside you were changing. You listened more than you spoke. You watched more than you reacted. While they were busy underestimating you, you were building something unbreakable. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is the power of patience mixed with purpose. You didn't rush. You didn't explain. You didn't fight for approval. You waited. And now the silence around you is louder than anything you could have ever said. Before this goes any further, pause for a moment. If this message hits something deep inside you, if you feel seen without being exposed, then show your support quietly, just like you've learned to live. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment that speaks without explaining too much. Not for noise, not for attention, but to mark that you are here, listening, growing, preparing. Let this space become a place for people who move in silence and rise with intention. They thought you were harmless because you didn't react. They thought you were weak because you didn't argue. They thought you were lost because you didn't explain your path. But what they didn't understand is that silence is not emptiness. Silence is control. Silence is observation. Silence is strategy. While they spoke, you studied. While they laughed, you learned. While they assumed, you prepared. You never corrected them because you didn't need to. You let them believe whatever made them comfortable. You let them feel ahead. You let them relax. And in that comfort, they exposed everything. You learned how people reveal their intentions when they think you're not paying attention. You learned how words change when pride feels safe. You learned who talks big and who actually moves. And most importantly, you learned who doubted you first. You kept that memory, not with anger, not with revenge, but with clarity. Because clarity sharpens focus, and focus builds results. There was a time when being overlooked hurt, when being ignored felt heavy, when you wondered if staying quiet was a mistake. But instead of letting that pain turn into noise, you turned it into fuel. You worked when no one was watching. You improved when no one was clapping. You disciplined yourself when no one expected anything from you. That's the difference. That's the advantage. When nobody believes in you, there's no pressure to perform for them. There's only room to become better for yourself. They didn't notice the small changes. The way your posture shifted, the way your eyes stayed calm, the way your words became fewer but stronger. They didn't notice because they were busy measuring loud success. But real power doesn't announce itself early. Real power waits until it's undeniable. You didn't need to prove anything. You needed to become something. At some point, the shift happened, quietly, subtly. You walked into rooms the same way, but the energy changed. Conversations paused when you spoke. Eyes followed when you moved. Not because you demanded attention, but because presence can't be hidden forever. That's when confusion started. That's when questions formed. That's when they realized something was different, but couldn't explain what. You never told them your plan. You never shared your struggles. You never asked for validation. You protected your process because you understood something most people don't. The moment you explain too much, you invite doubt. The moment you announce too early, you weaken momentum. So you stayed reserved, you stayed focused, you stayed patient. They thought you were playing small. What they didn't know is that you were playing long. You weren't interested in quick reactions or temporary wins. You were building depth. You were stacking discipline. You were shaping a version of yourself that wouldn't need permission to rise. And now, when your results speak, there are no arguments left. No explanations required. No debates possible. The same people who underestimated you now struggle to find words. Not because you embarrassed them, not because you attacked them, but because reality arrived without warning. That's the most powerful outcome. Not proving them wrong with noise, but letting silence do the work. Letting consistency answer every doubt. Letting growth speak where arguments never could. You didn't fool them with lies. You fooled them with discipline. You fooled them by not reacting. You fooled them by mastering yourself instead of trying to control others. And now they're left replaying moments, realizing too late that the signs were always there. This is what happens when patience meets purpose. This is what happens when you stop explaining and start executing. This is what happens when you learn that silence isn't weakness, preparation. And this is only the beginning. There comes a moment when you realize the quiet was never about hiding. It was about refining. You weren't shrinking yourself. You were sharpening yourself. Every day you chose restraint over reaction, you gained something most people never develop: control. Control over emotions. Control over impulses. Control over direction. While others wasted energy proving points, you conserved energy building strength. That discipline separated you long before success ever showed up. They confused your calm with confusion. They mistook your patience for hesitation. But patience is a decision, not a delay. You understood timing. You understood that rushing exposes weaknesses, while waiting strengthens foundations. You let time do its work on you. You let repetition build confidence. You let pressure train your mind. And you did it alone, without applause, without reassurance, without approval. You stopped explaining yourself because you learned something critical. People don't listen to understand, they listen to respond. So you stopped feeding conversations that drained your focus. You stopped defending choices that weren't meant to be understood yet. You protected your vision like it was fragile, because it was. Not fragile in weakness, but fragile in growth. Seeds don't grow faster when everyone digs them up to check progress. There were nights when doubt whispered louder than encouragement ever had. Moments when silence felt heavy. Times when you questioned if anyone would ever notice the work you were putting in. But instead of letting that doubt turn into bitterness, you let it turn into precision. You refined your habits. You corrected your flaws. You strengthened what needed strengthening. Quietly, relentlessly. You watched people celebrate small wins loudly while you stayed focused on long-term outcomes. You saw how quickly attention fades when there's nothing solid underneath. That's when you understood why staying underestimated was a gift. Expectations are heavy. Freedom is light. And freedom allowed you to move without pressure, without comparison, without distraction. Over time, your mindset changed. You stopped craving recognition. You stopped seeking validation. You stopped measuring yourself against anyone else. Your standards became internal. Your competition became personal. Your motivation became disciplined rather than emotional. That shift is rare. That shift is dangerous. Because once you stop needing external approval, no one can control you. They didn't hear about your struggles. They didn't see your sacrifices. They didn't know what you gave up to become who you are now. And they don't need to know, because explanations don't add value to results. Results stand alone. Results speak clearly. Results leave no room for debate. When progress finally showed, it didn't arrive loudly. It arrived confidently. It arrived stable. It arrived undeniable. And that's when the atmosphere changed. Not because you demanded respect, but because respect naturally follows consistency. Conversations shifted. Opinions softened. Assumptions collapsed. Some tried to act like they always believed in you. Others stayed silent, processing the realization that they misjudged you. And a few couldn't speak at all, because admitting they were wrong would require self-awareness they never developed. You didn't need their words. You already had confirmation in your growth. What they couldn't understand is that you never aimed to impress them. You aimed to improve yourself. That difference changes everything. Impressing fades. Improving compounds. And compounding effort over time creates a presence that can't be ignored. You didn't rise by stepping on anyone. You rose by standing firm when it was easier to quit. You rose by choosing discipline when motivation disappeared. You rose by staying consistent when nobody was watching. That's why your success feels solid. That's why it doesn't shake under pressure. Now, when you walk forward, there's a quiet certainty in your movement, not arrogance, not pride, just clarity. You know what you're capable of because you built it yourself. You know what you endured because you didn't broadcast it. You know what you earned because you paid the price privately. And the most powerful part is this: you're still not finished. You're still not loud. You're still not explaining. You're still growing. The silence remains, but now it carries weight. Now it commands attention without asking for it. They can't speak, not because you silenced them, but because your journey answered every question they never asked you directly. Your consistency became the explanation. Your discipline became the proof. Your calm became the message. This is what it means to move in silence. and let results echo. Truth about power is that most people misunderstand it. They chase noise, recognition, applause. They think influence comes from speaking loudest, from demanding attention. But real power is quieter. Real power waits. Real power works. While others rest, while others complain, while others think life owes them explanations. You learn that lesson early. You learn that to move with authority, you must first master yourself. And mastery is never public. Mastery is private, relentless, almost invisible, until it's undeniable. Every choice you made, every sacrifice you endured, every moment you endured criticism in silence, it was all shaping a version of yourself that couldn't be shaken. They laughed, they doubted, they questioned, but that didn't matter. They never mattered. What mattered was your commitment to becoming unstoppable. Every setback was a lesson. Every insult was a mirror showing their weakness, not yours. Every underestimated move was a chance to rise silently. You didn't retaliate because retaliation feeds chaos. You acted strategically because growth feeds results. Think of every time they tried to draw you into arguments, every time they wanted your attention to validate themselves. You didn't take the bait. You didn't waste energy proving yourself. You stayed above it. You stayed calm. You stayed calculating. And that, more than anything, confused them. Not because you were unpredictable, but because you refused to become predictable by their expectations. They expected a reaction. They expected noise. Instead, you gave them patience, consistency, and silence. And silence is more powerful than words. Silence doesn't need applause. Silence doesn't fade. Silence changes perception without effort. The way you moved, the way you grew, the way you prepared, it became a language they couldn't read. Every unnoticed step became part of a pattern they never saw coming. While they were busy talking, you were strategizing. While they were seeking attention, you were seeking growth. While they were measuring others, you were measuring yourself. And measurement of self is dangerous for those who underestimate it, because it leads to perfection, it leads to timing, it leads to results that can't be ignored or reversed. They never understood how strong you were in private. They never understood that discipline is silent, that ambition is invisible, that determination doesn't ask permission. They only saw fragments, moments, shadows. And those shadows grew into a reality they could no longer deny. Their doubts, their judgments, their assumptions, they became irrelevant, and watching them process that irrelevance without being able to speak, that is the purest victory of all. You didn't play them through lies, you played them through excellence, you played them through restraint, you played them through patience, you let them underestimate, let them misjudge, let them overconfidently assume, and every assumption they made became a stepping stone for you. Every false narrative they built about you became fuel. Every moment they overlooked you became power in your hands. And now when they finally realize what's happening, their voices falter, their confidence collapses, their certainty fades. And the truth is, they never really knew you at all. Power doesn't need to shout. Influence doesn't need to beg. Respect doesn't need to be demanded. The silent, disciplined, consistent version of yourself commands all three without ever saying a word. And that is the ultimate advantage. That is why they can't speak. That is why they stumble. That is why they replay moments, trying to figure out how they missed it all. You played them perfectly, not through manipulation, but through mastery of yourself. Not through chaos, but through control. Not through words, but through presence. And in this silence, there is a freedom they will never feel. Because freedom doesn't come from convincing others. Freedom comes from being untouchable in your mind, unshakable in your actions, unstoppable in your path. And that freedom is magnetic. It draws respect, attention, and opportunity without asking for any of them. It's the kind of power that makes observers freeze, makes doubters stumble, and leaves rivals speechless. Now, imagine the future. Every step you take, every choice you make, every action is deliberate. You move not to impress, not to respond, not to compete, but to elevate. You let the world test itself against your discipline, your preparation, your patience. And they always fail because they react. You respond. They stumble. You rise. They speak. You act. This is the rhythm of mastery. This is the dance of someone who has learned that silence can roar louder than words ever could. And the most profound lesson here is this: the moment you stop trying to be understood, the moment you stop defending yourself, the moment you stop reacting to noise, that is the moment your power becomes undeniable. That is the moment results become your voice. That is the moment presence becomes your language. That is the moment people who doubted you realize too late that they were never even in the game. You didn't need them to validate your journey. You didn't need them to witness your preparation. You didn't need them to recognize your strategy. You only needed yourself. And that is why you cannot be stopped. You cannot be shaken. You cannot be explained away. The silence around you is not absence. It is authority. And authority never begs. Authority never doubts. Authority never needs to explain. Authority simply exists. And in its existence, it leaves others speechless. And now, the moment comes. The moment you've been building for years, silently, patiently, relentlessly. The moment when everything you've endured, every ounce of discipline, every sacrifice, every quiet effort, all converge into a force too strong to ignore. This is not sudden. This is not accidental. This is the result of mastery. They are left standing in the aftermath, stunned, trying to find words that don't exist. They search for excuses, for explanations, for reasons, but none are available. Because the truth is, you didn't need to explain. You didn't need permission. You didn't need validation. You only needed yourself, and you became undeniable. They believed they could predict you. They believed they could understand you. They believed that silence meant weakness. But silence is not absence. Silence is preparation. Silence is power waiting to emerge. And now that power is not just visible, it's undeniable. You have become a force they cannot name, a presence they cannot quantify, a reality they cannot argue against. They wanted stories. You gave results. They wanted drama. You gave growth. They wanted noise. You gave calm certainty. And in that certainty, you leave them speechless. Every person who doubted you now walks in hesitation. Every word they ever spoke against you fades in their minds. Every assumption they made now collapses under the weight of what you've become. They never realized it before, but they are witnessing something that cannot be faked, cannot be argued, cannot be ignored. And the most beautiful part is this: you didn't have to fight them to reach this point. You didn't need confrontation. You didn't need anger. You didn't need to prove anything to anyone but yourself. And that is the ultimate power. True power doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through undeniable presence, through results, through the silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. You understand the final truth. They will never speak of you with certainty. They will never claim to understand your journey. They will never attempt to follow your path because it requires something they never developed: discipline, patience, and the ability to remain quiet while growing unstoppable. And this is why they cannot speak. They are outmatched, not because of what you said, but because of what you became. You became the answer they never expected. You became the reality they cannot manipulate. You became the storm that arrived without warning, and yet you remain composed. You remain calm. You remain silent in the way only the truly powerful can. You are not cruel. You are not boastful. You are not seeking revenge. You are simply the product of relentless focus, unwavering discipline, and unwavering belief in yourself. That combination is terrifying to anyone who tries to control, to underestimate, to misjudge, because it cannot be reasoned with, it cannot be argued with. It simply exists, and in its existence, it changes everything. This is the moment where silence becomes a language, where presence becomes authority, where mastery becomes visible without effort. You have trained yourself to a point where noise, doubt, and opinion are irrelevant. And now, as they scramble to find words, as they hesitate to even acknowledge your existence in full, the truth is crystal clear. You have won in the way that matters most. Not by shouting, not by fighting, not by explaining. You have won by becoming unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable. They cannot speak because the person they assumed was quiet, weak, or harmless is now someone they cannot confront, cannot challenge, and cannot diminish. And that, above all else, is the victory you have earned. A victory built not on chaos, but on order. Not on luck, but on relentless preparation. Not on anger, but on control. You played them perfectly, not by deceiving them, but by mastering yourself to a degree they could never imagine. And here is the final, undeniable truth. What they see now is only the beginning. You are not finished. You will continue to grow. You will continue to refine. You will continue to act with purpose while the world reacts in confusion. And in that ongoing journey, the silence you mastered will remain your greatest ally. It will shield you. It will protect you. It will elevate you. And every step you take forward will leave observers struggling to understand what they never paid attention to in the first place. The irony of it all, isn't it? They believed they could walk away so confident, so smug, thinking they could find someone better, someone who could replace you, someone who could fill the void they so foolishly created. They thought the world was their playground, and love just a disposable commodity to be cast aside when it no longer served them. They didn't see it coming, did they? They thought they were making the smart move, cutting the tie that they believed was holding them back, not realizing that the real weight wasn't you. It was their inability to understand the value of what they had until it was gone. It's a painful truth that people never truly value what they have until it slips through their fingers. They never appreciate the warmth of the fire until it's snuffed out by their own careless actions. They thought you were just another chapter in their story, an easy one to close, thinking they could walk away and rewrite the next page as if you were nothing more than a passing distraction. They thought they were strong, that their decisions were calculated, that there was no price to pay for their betrayal. But as the days go by, they will slowly begin to realize that they were wrong. There's something beautiful in this silence, in this space between you and them, where their realization will begin to sink in. And by the time they understand what they've lost, by the time they grasp the depth of the void they've created by walking away, you'll be nothing more than a memory, a shadow that lingers in the recesses of their mind. They'll begin to search for you in everyone they meet, looking for traces of the person they once thought they could walk away from so easily. But it won't be you. It won't be anything close. They'll realize, far too late, that no one else can fill the space you once held. They'll find new people, yes, but none of them will ever measure up. They'll meet faces that mimic yours in fleeting moments, in the way they smile or laugh, in the way they speak, but it won't matter. Because deep down, they'll know that something is missing, something that no one else can replace. They'll find themselves in the quiet hours of the night, alone with their thoughts, haunted by the absence of the one person they thought they could let go of so easily. They'll replay the memories of you, the moments they thought they could forget, and with every recollection, the weight of their mistake will become heavier. What they don't realize now, what they failed to understand in the moment of their arrogance, is that there is a cost to every action. They thought they could leave you behind, erase you from their lives, but the truth is, they've only set the stage for their own downfall. For every moment they spent dismissing you, for every word they said that cut you deep, they planted a seed of regret. And regret, once it takes root, grows like a poison, slowly creeping through the veins of their soul until they're consumed by it. But by the time that happens, by the time they begin to feel the weight of that regret pressing down on them, you'll be gone. Gone not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You will have moved on. You will have found peace in your own way. You'll have grown stronger in the aftermath of their betrayal. They will come to realize that they lost more than just a person. They lost the very essence of what it meant to be loved, truly loved, unconditionally. And no one will ever give that to them again. Not in the same way, not with the same intensity. They'll search for the kind of connection they had with you, but it won't exist. What they had with you was unique, irreplaceable, built over time, molded in the fires of shared experiences and tempered with understanding. But that bond was severed by their own hand, and once it's broken, it can't be fixed. They'll try to recreate it with others, but it will always fall short. Always. And as they go through the motions of their new relationships, they'll feel it. The emptiness of knowing that they will never again experience the depth of what they once had with you. Here's the cruelest part of it all. They'll never tell you. They'll never admit the mistake they made. They'll carry the weight of their regret in silence, pretending that they're fine, pretending that they moved on. But deep down, they'll know the truth. They'll know that they destroyed something beautiful, something rare, and that they did it to themselves. They will never say it, never apologize, because their pride will never allow them to swallow the bitter pill of humility. Instead, they'll try to fill that void with distractions, with temporary fixes that only remind them of the one thing they can never get back. The saddest part is that they'll never understand the true cost of what they've done. They'll never truly grasp the depth of their actions because they were too busy thinking that they could always find something better. But in the end, they'll find nothing at all, only echoes, only ghosts. And as they walk through life, chasing after shadows of what they once had, they'll find themselves empty, yearning for something they'll never be able to replace. They'll look at the people around them and wonder why it doesn't feel the same. They'll search for that spark, that magic, that connection they had with you, but it will never be there. And by then, it will be too late. You will have moved on, long gone, and all they will have left are the memories of something they carelessly discarded. By the time they realize what they've lost, you'll be a distant memory. The person they once knew will be someone they can never touch again, someone they can never speak to again. You'll be gone from their lives, leaving only traces of your presence behind, memories that fade as time passes. They'll see you in the faces of others, Hear your voice in the echoes of their thoughts, but it won't matter. You will be gone, and all they will have left is the regret of knowing they let something truly special slip through their fingers. And in the end, that's all anyone can really hope for when they've been wronged. To be remembered, not for the pain they caused, but for the strength they found after the storm. You'll be remembered not as the person who stayed, but as the person who rose from the ashes, stronger and wiser than ever before. You'll be remembered as the one who walked away and never looked back, the one who found peace in letting go, the one who found the strength to keep moving forward while they remained stuck in the past. So let them come to terms with their loss. Let them feel the weight of their choices. Let them search for something that will never exist again. And when they finally realize what they've lost, when they finally see the void they've created, when they finally understand that they'll never find anything that compares to what they had with you, it won't matter. By then, you'll be gone, and you will have become nothing more than a memory. And that memory, though painful, will be the only thing they have left, the only thing they'll carry with them as they move forward, always looking for something they can never have again. They'll search for you, in the faces of others, in the fleeting moments of their life, but you'll be nothing more than a fading image in the distance. By the time they realize what they've lost, you'll already be gone. A memory, a ghost, a part of their past they can never touch again. In the end, the greatest revenge is not in making them regret their decision, but in simply walking away and never looking back. Let them live with the consequences of their actions. Let them carry the weight of their mistakes, and let them understand, too late, that the cost of losing you was higher than they could have ever imagined. You'll be nothing more than a memory, and that will be your greatest triumph. When all is said and done, when the dust of their careless decisions is settled, and they find themselves alone with their thoughts, wondering where it all went wrong, you will be the victory they could never claim. Not because you sought revenge, not because you tried to hurt them in return, but because you walked away with dignity and strength, leaving them with nothing but the echo of your absence. You didn't have to explain yourself to them, didn't have to justify your decision to leave. You didn't have to make them understand. You simply left, and in doing so, you took the power back that they thought they had taken from you. In a world full of people who believe that everything is negotiable, that love is something you can trade, manipulate, and discard at will, you showed them that love, real love, is sacred. It cannot be bought, it cannot be controlled, and it certainly cannot be replaced at whim. They believed they were playing the game, thinking they were the ones holding the cards, but in reality, they were the ones who were being played. They were the ones who were destined to lose, but they just didn't know it yet. And by the time they realize, by the time the magnitude of their error crashes down on them, you will have already moved on, flourishing without them. By walking away, you achieved what they could never understand. You took their belief in their own superiority and used it to fuel your own growth. Every step they took away from you was a step that pushed you closer to the person you were always meant to be. You weren't broken. You weren't lost. You didn't need their validation, their approval, or their presence. You knew your worth, and you understood that walking away wasn't a sign of weakness. It was an act of self-preservation, a declaration of your own boundaries and self-respect. They thought they had all the time in the world. They thought you would always be there, always waiting for them to come back, always willing to forgive and forget. But they were wrong. You were never the one who would settle for scraps of love, never the one who would allow yourself to be treated like an afterthought. You were always the prize, the treasure, the one they didn't appreciate until it was too late. They failed to recognize your value when they had you, and now all they have left are the broken remnants of their own decisions. What they didn't understand is that by walking away, you gave yourself the chance to grow. You gave yourself the opportunity to evolve, to shed the dead weight that was their presence in your life, and to become something greater than you were before. They thought they were the ones in control, but you were the one who was in charge all along. You knew the power of leaving when the time was right, and you exercised that power with a grace that they would never be able to comprehend. And that's what stings the most for them, the fact that you didn't need them. They thought they were the ones holding the key to your happiness, that your joy and contentment were tied to their presence, their approval, their love. But now, they see that you have moved forward, and in doing so, you've shown them that they were never the center of your universe. You were the force that propelled your own life forward, not them. They were simply a part of your story, a chapter that needed to end, and you closed it without hesitation. And as the pages turn, they will only see the growing distance between who you were when they were in your life and who you are now. Someone who has thrived in their absence. There's nothing more devastating than seeing someone you once held dear walk away and become stronger without you. It's a crushing blow to the ego, a reminder that you were never the indispensable part of someone's life that you thought you were. That, above all else, is what will haunt them. Not the anger or the resentment or the feeling of being wronged, but the realization that they didn't matter as much as they believed, that they were not irreplaceable, that someone could leave them, walk away, and not only survive, but thrive in their absence. And that is a blow that will linger, gnawing at them, making them question everything they thought they knew about love, about loyalty, and about their own importance in the grand scheme of things. It will eat away at them in ways they can't even begin to comprehend, because deep down, everyone has a need to be important to someone. Everyone wants to feel irreplaceable, to know that they matter. But you, by walking away, have shown them that no one is irreplaceable. No one is invincible. And no matter how much they convince themselves otherwise, they will never forget that you were the one who walked away. You were the one who chose to leave, to make the hard decision to sever ties with someone who didn't value you. And when they try to fill the space you left, they will realize just how much they underestimated your worth. They will search for what they had with you in others. They will find new relationships, new people, but they will never find the same connection. Because what you had was unique, one of a kind, and the truth they can't avoid is that they threw it all away. They chose to walk away thinking they could find something better, but in the end, they will be left with nothing. And as the years pass, as they try to move forward with their lives, they will always remember you. They will always remember the person they could have had, the person they thought they could replace, and it will haunt them in ways they cannot escape. They will find themselves in relationships that don't satisfy them, friendships that leave them feeling empty, and moments of success that feel hollow, because they will always be missing that one piece, the piece you once were. They will see flashes of your smile in someone else's, hear echoes of your laughter in the words of others, but it won't be the same. It will never be the same. And no matter how hard they try, they won't be able to recreate the magic that once existed between the two of you. It's gone. And it's gone because they let it slip through their fingers. And by the time they realize what they've lost, by the time they recognize the value of the love you gave them, you will have already become something more than a memory. You will have become a lesson that will stay with them long after you're gone. The lesson that sometimes the greatest thing you can do for yourself is to walk away. The lesson that love isn't a game. The lesson that sometimes you have to let go of something in order to save yourself. They will carry that lesson with them, but it will never be enough to undo the damage they've done to themselves. They will live with the knowledge that they had something precious and lost it. And that, my friend, will be their punishment. The knowledge that they let you slip away, and now you are gone forever. So let them search for you in every new face they meet. Let them chase after what they lost. Let them dream of what could have been. Because the truth is, you're not waiting for them to realize their mistake. You've already moved on. You've already found the strength to build your own future without them. You've already claimed your victory, and in doing so, you've freed yourself from the chains of their selfishness, their arrogance, and their misunderstanding. By the time they realize what they've lost, you will be long gone, flourishing in the life you created for yourself, no longer defined by them or their actions. And that will be your greatest triumph, because you didn't just survive, you thrived. You didn't just walk away, you walked into a new chapter of your life, one that they will never be a part of, and they will spend the rest of their lives knowing that they were the ones who lost out, and they will never be able to escape the consequences of their own decisions. Every day, as they continue to live their lives, they'll be confronted with the fact that they traded something rare and irreplaceable for something that ultimately did not hold the same value. They will try to fill the hole you left with distractions, new relationships, new opportunities, new faces, but all of it will feel like a poor imitation of what they once had with you. The real tragedy is that they will never be able to truly understand the depth of what they lost until they feel it every day, long after you've become nothing more than a distant memory. In the beginning, they might try to tell themselves that it was a small price to pay, that they could move on easily, that there were plenty of people out there waiting for them. But deep down, the truth will gnaw at them like a slow, quiet burn. They'll try to convince themselves that what they have now is enough, that it's good enough, that they made the right choice. But every time they wake up in the morning, the silence will echo around them. Every time they look at the people in their lives, they'll see their faces, their smiles, and hear the hollow ring of their voices, but it won't matter. It won't feel the same. You were the one who made them feel seen. You were the one who understood them when no one else did. You were the one who loved them when they didn't deserve it, when they couldn't even love themselves. And that's what they'll never find again. The person they've tried so hard to replace is someone who gave them their heart, someone who was not just there for the good moments, but for the bad ones too. Someone who stood by them when everyone else walked away. That's what they'll never replace. They'll never find someone who gave them that same level of loyalty, that same level of commitment, that same unwavering love. They'll search for it in every new face they meet, but they'll never find it. And every time they realize that, it will sink in a little more. That little voice in the back of their mind whispering to them that they were the ones who lost out, that they were the ones who made the mistake. The truth will haunt them in their quiet moments. When they're alone, when they're left with nothing but their thoughts, the realization will settle over them like a heavy weight. They'll remember the way you looked at them, the way you cared for them, the way you were always there, no matter how messy their life became. They'll remember how you were the one who made them feel important, how you made them feel seen and heard. And in that moment, they'll know that they can never get that back. Because you've moved on, because you've closed that chapter of your life, and now they're left with nothing but the ghost of what could have been. In the early stages, they might try to reach out to you, to apologize, to explain themselves, but it will be too late. The damage will already be done, and their apologies will fall on deaf ears. You won't care about their explanations anymore, won't care about their excuses or their attempts to rewrite history. They've already shown you who they truly are, and that's all that matters. You've learned to value yourself too much to let someone like them back into your life. They had their chance, and they threw it away. Now, they'll have to live with the knowledge that they lost you for good. The hardest part for them, the part that will truly break them, is knowing that they won't get to watch your life unfold the way it should have with them in it. They will see you from afar, perhaps through social media or mutual friends, and they'll see how you've blossomed without them. They'll see you living your life, finding happiness, making progress, and they'll realize that you didn't need them to be whole. You didn't need their validation to achieve your goals or to find peace. You were always going to be fine without them, and that realization will eat at them day after day until they can't look at themselves in the mirror without feeling a pang of regret. The sad truth is that they will never get to experience the person you are becoming. They will never see you rise to the occasion, never get to be a part of the victories, the celebrations, the successes. They will miss out on all of that, and in doing so, they will be forced to live with the reminder that they could have been part of it, but they chose not to. They chose to walk away when they had everything, and in doing so, they chose to miss out on the very thing that could have made their life complete. And as time goes on, they'll realize that no matter how much they try to fill the void, nothing will ever compare to what you brought into their life. No one will love them the way you did. No one will be there for them the way you were. They will spend the rest of their lives wondering what might have been, constantly chasing something they will never catch. The irony of it all is that while they will be left with this insatiable emptiness, you will have found fulfillment in the freedom that comes with walking away. You will find peace in knowing that you did what was best for you, that you chose your own happiness over their fleeting promises. You won't waste time looking back or wondering what could have been. Instead, you will focus on the future, on the endless possibilities that lie ahead, on the endless potential you have to shape your own life, your own success, your own joy. You will learn to appreciate the beauty of solitude, the power of self-reliance, and the strength that comes from embracing your own company. You won't need anyone to define you, to validate you, or to make you feel whole. You will be whole on your own, and that realization will be your greatest victory. You will learn to love yourself in ways they never could, in ways they will never understand. They will look at you from afar, wondering how you've done it, how you found the strength to move on, to thrive, to find peace, and they will never know the answer. Because the truth is, they didn't deserve you. They didn't deserve the love and loyalty you gave them, and they will never understand that until it's too late. And so, they will spend the rest of their lives haunted by their decisions, always searching for something they can never replace. They will never find it, no matter how many people they meet, no matter how many relationships they try to build. Because what they lost wasn't just a person. It was a part of themselves, a part that only you could provide, and they'll never get it back. You, on the other hand, will continue to grow, to evolve, to thrive. You will become the person you were always meant to be, not defined by anyone's expectations, not held back by anyone's mistakes. You will carve out your own path, and as you do, you will realize that your greatest triumph wasn't in proving them wrong, but in realizing that you were always enough on your own. The greatest revenge is not in making them regret their actions, but in simply living your life to the fullest, in becoming the person they could never hold on to. And in the end, when the dust settles, when the years have passed, and all that remains are memories, you will know that you were the one who walked away with dignity, the one who refused to settle for less than what you deserved. You will know that you were the one who found strength in letting go, who found peace in the quiet spaces between your old life and the new one. And you will smile, not out of revenge, but because you know that the one who truly lost out was never you. it was always them, and they will have to live with that truth for the rest of their lives. The greatest victory lies not in revenge, but in the strength found in walking away. While they may spend their lives regretting the loss, you will continue to grow, thrive, and find peace in your own journey. They were the ones who lost out, unable to replace what they took for granted, while you become stronger and more whole without them. Your life will move forward, free from the weight of their mistakes, and in time, you'll realize that your decision to walk away wasn't just an escape, it was your greatest triumph.